What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is currently 19 degrees Fahrenheit here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and that is about -7 Celsius for all of you boys and girls outside of America. It is freezing, and the shop here is not heated. The house up above it is, and the ductwork feeds heat into the house, but as we all know, heat rises, and that is not where we are standing right now. So it's kind of chilly in the shop. We are still working on the 64 Beetle in hopes and preparation that this is ready to go for the haul to Fort Myers, Florida. But as you saw in the last episode, we have a lot of stuff done on the car. We fit the rear beam. We got all the factory front components out. We got the leaf stacks cut down. We got the dimple, grub screw dimples drilled. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff set up. We got the rear drop plates in. New bushings are in. And yesterday, which we didn't film much of, I was working on the laser machine on actually the Euro Tripper Awards, oddly enough. And Corey was working on a few bits on the car. First and foremost, he put in the spare tire tub in the trunk here. This was a replacement pan. Got the VIN plate riveted back on and everything. So this looks great. Has yet to shoot it with some paint, but that was pretty tender. That had a lot of holes in it. So that's in, that's ready to go. And also the back of the hood here, as you guys may have seen when we pulled the motor out, we were talking about how the spring had almost like ripped the inside of it apart. And he went through and plug welded it all back together, reinforced it. This is where the spring goes right here, and got that welded back down as well. And we fit it to the car last night just to make sure it was strong, that it didn't need any more reinforcement, and it is. So that's good to go. About to shoot that with some paint. So today we're getting that put back on. Like I said, we didn't really film a lot of that because I was busy on the machine and he was busy on this, just trying to get it done. But today we're going to work on a few other bits on the car that we want done. We want to do some window seals too. So today we're going to do the windshield seal. Now this is pretty bad, and I know it's pretty bad, not just from looking at it, but it sat outside in the rain a couple of times and you get some water inside, and just by the looks of it, you can tell. So we've got a windshield seal. We're gonna do that in this episode. I think what we're gonna do is just decide not to run the trim with the new seal, since this trim has been moving with the old seal, which is not the shape that we need the new seal to be at. So we're gonna cut this thing out first and just go from there. These things look best with trim, in my opinion. I think it's obvious when there's no trim, it's a new seal, but you don't have water coming in, so pick one.
Oh my God, this thing is so...
It's petrified.
Petrified.
Yeah, it's not even rubber anymore. Oh, man.
This may be difficult.
That did nothing. Shape.
No. That's kind of why you gotta cut it out. But...
If you were really trying to save the trim, you'd go way more delicately than this, because it does want to bend and not retain its shape. But this old seal might as well be wood at this point. Wow, that's a good sign.
Such a good sign.
That's not a New Hampshire car.
Not a New England thing.
Any New England car, you take that out and you're like, well, put it on a rotisserie.
Yep.
All right, so windscreen's out in one piece. No breaks or cracks, but we're going to knock on wood there because the job's not done yet. But I can't state it enough. For those of you who are new to the channel, we're from New Hampshire. We're down in Chattanooga, Tennessee now, and we know what old cars weather like. We know what we usually find when we take things apart on old cars, especially German cars. Japanese and German cars are two of the worst. Well, we pulled the windshield out, and inside is perfect. There's a little bit of blistering, but no rot. Can't even believe that.
And the lip is all still there. That's what matters.
That's crazy.
Probably clean it and just treat it with like, you know, like spray paint on a pad and then brush it in a little bit.
Yep. All right, so it's the next day, and more parts have showed up, like vital parts for the next episode, but also this episode. So what showed up today was the new steering damper, and as you can see, that is going to fit with our new Everesto shortened tie rod assembly, much better than this guy. So we're not going to be installing this stuff today, but that showed up. So this will allow us to fully assemble the front end in the next episode when we get the beam put together, leaf stacks in, and everything bolted into the car. What's changed for us since the last clip is the transmission mounts also showed up this morning. So in this episode, we're gonna get those replaced. We'll do the transmission mounts, and that means we can put the motor back in. So we're gonna do that as well. That is the easiest way to apply that.
Totally.
More so than a brush.
And more so than masking everything off and spraying it.
Yep. All right, well, this is the first windshield seal, at least in a Beetle, that I've ever done. And as Corey would say, this was the most difficult ever. But it should be noted that it was 4 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like negative 20 something Celsius this morning here in Chattanooga. Record breaking, unseasonably cold this morning. All day long, it's been nothing but brick outside, brick ice outside. And so the shop being not heated has been pretty cold. So naturally, a rubber window seal put up the ultimate fight. So explain the rope technique to anyone watching who's never done this before.
Yeah.
So you run the rope in that groove all the way around the window.
Yep. If you'll hear people refer to certain old windshields as rope-in.
Yep.
This is technically what they mean. Take your rope or string or anything strong. You'll basically start it like this, so you have something to pull onto. And then you'll open this gap up and you actually feed it into the seal. Spray glass cleaner in there to lube it up so it pulls out nice. And then you set it into the windshield frame, and when you're ready, you pull this and see how that pulls it pulls the seal out. That'll pull it around the lip that is in the windshield.
On the inside of the car.
Yep.
Yep.
So you go around the whole thing, usually 1.5 times, so you have a little bit of overlap up here.
Yeah, yeah. Looks like this thing's just about ready to go in the car.
Yeah, we're just about ready. So I'll take the glass cleaner and friggin' soak it down in the groove, basically, around the whole thing. Don't be shy, because this is only gonna help.
Yeah.
It'll lubricate the rope and the rubber to fold over it as well.
So we've made sure we've upped on our sprayway. Not a sponsored ad, but send us some. Also mind blown at the new information that you guys and many other people would prep a whole car before paint with sprayway.
Sprayway.
I was always under the impression that glass cleaner had so much abrasive in it that if you got it on anything else, you'd scratch it to high heaven. But apparently people use glass cleaner as the final prep solution before painting a whole car.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, like a final prep or a final wipe, whatever, works just fine, but it almost leaves like a chemical residue behind. This won't. This will evaporate completely within a couple of seconds of wiping it.
That's crazy. The more you know, and you learn something new every day. Because obviously I know almost nothing about paint. As you guys can clearly see. All right, so we've gotten this part down, pulled in.
So you pull on the rope and see how it pulls the gasket over that lip.
And having my hand on the outside of the windshield, I could feel it as you were pulling the rope out. It was sucking the windshield into place.
Yep.
Yeah, so we were what felt like 80% of the way there, all the way around. And then as the string kept coming out, it wasn't pulling the seal in the direction we wanted it to go. So it's back out of the car. String is rerun in a different route.
So basically, we want to use gravity to get the bottom in first. That way the bottom goes in and then the top kind of like falls in as well.
So we're going to give that a go on try number 2. Windshield's still in one piece though, so that's good.
I'm like stuck on a point here. Oh, fucking broke.
Broke the rope?
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's okay. I'll go to this side. Damn it.
So upon trying to get the string in a third time, the seal decided to just ejecto glasso. And it took us forever to get the bottom part of the seal to grab the glass and stay there. As you can see, it kind of bends up. And we put pressurized air into the groove of the seal to try to dry it out because we were afraid that there was so much glass cleaner in there now that it was just too wet to grab the glass. Well, we got the seal back on and we've run the string 2 times around. So hopefully we get round 1 and a round 2 of part 3 of trying to get this windshield in. So cross your fingers that this is the last time we have to do this. We don't want to fight with this seal anymore. We still got to put the motor in. I'm not pushing it at all. Did it rip again? Oh. All right, so I just ran to the hardware store and bought some actual rope, 1/4-inch thick rope that actually says 95-pound weight rating. What I didn't know is this garbage material can be ripped literally just by gripping it and pulling. Never once would I have thought that this stuff you could have just ripped with your hands. So that is why every single time we put this in the car while trying to pull on the string to get the seal to wrap around the lip would just snap every single time. This may have just been the issue the whole time. We just weren't dealing with a good piece of rope that was strong. All right, big rope is run. Let's do this.
Godspeed.
Godspeed, you Black Emperor. If you know, you know. All right, guys, we got the windshield in. And like Corey said, it was, what, the hardest one you've ever done?
Pretty much the hardest one I've ever done.
For no reason.
Whatever reason.
No reason.
I've done a dozen of them, usually with one other person. I even remember doing them by myself somehow. But I must not have. I don't know. This one just fought.
Yeah, for how tough this one was, we had this in and out like 4 times. But to be fair to the both of us, we did realize that the string we were using was just, you could tear it apart by just tearing it. So that was not working. We kept tearing it and we'd have to pull the whole windshield out. So the new rope worked. It still went in real hard. There's still a few spots that we want to kind of finesse out and make it look a little bit better, but that won't leak now. To finish this episode, we wanted to get the motor in. It won't be running. Like I mentioned before, we won't get it running in this episode because we still need to get the fuel tank in the car in order to do that. And we need the fuel tank out to put the beam and the suspension and all the steering assemblies in. So one thing at a time. But now that the rear main seal is done, which Corey put in yesterday, he took some time to put the rear main seal in and put the clutch back in. Now we're at least going to get the transmission mounts done.
I'm going to put the throttle cable in.
Forgot we had a brand new throttle cable. The old one is just insane.
Yep.
Like actually insane. Throttle cable.
Dang. Yeah, that was due.
It's not even like a cable anymore.
No, it's super thin in some spots.
Yep. And like bent. And like not straight.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, so the nuts are off the studs. And basically what we're going to do now is we're putting the floor jack under the transmission. And we're just going to lift the transmission up to free up the mounts that are underneath the transmission on the cradle itself. Yep. Okay, yet again, next day, because it's still freezing in South Tennessee, and we called it quits last night because we were just in the shop all day with no heat. It's still, it's still really cold. But today, we're both in the vans and no thermals, no Under Armour on the pants. And it's probably still needed. But we're finally getting the motor in. We're going to get the motor in. New throttle cable is in. New transmission mounts are in. We leave in 2 weeks to the day for Eurotripper. So far, I don't want to jinx it, because yesterday we spent all day on the windshield. So far, it looks like we got plenty of time to get this thing where we need it for Eurotripper. Next week, we're working on the truck. I need to do a rear main seal in the truck. I've never done that before.
It's not bad. It's just everything's big.
Yeah.
Transmission is huge. The drive shaft is 20 feet long.
Yeah.
It's just big stuff.
So the OBS Ford, it's got a 7.3 Power Stroke in it, but it does have an E40D automatic transmission in it, so we don't have to worry about the clutch and all that stuff and do a remain seal, because that's really starting to give up the ghost now. That's really starting to leak worse and worse. A long trip to South Florida, hauling a trailer. So anyway, next week before Eurotripper, we got a lot of work to do on the truck. All right, so the motor's in. We're just buttoning up seal, like the engine seal. All right, well, the motor's back in. We fought, it feels like, for every inch of everything in this episode. I didn't film all of it because it was kind of like put the camera down and just like try to get stuff done. The windshield fought us to death with all sorts of different variables. Just putting the motor back in seemed to just put up a fight for no reason. The fourth motor mount bolt that was non-existent when we first pulled the motor out fought us because of the clutch lever location, and it probably has a lot to do with the fact that this is a 1600 dual port that wasn't originally mated to this transmission. So bolt orientation and hardware just isn't right. We're fixing a lot of other people's problems on this thing, or other people's future our problem. We're fixing other people's, it's their problem in the future problems, which is now our problems. Yeah. Next episode, you will see us putting the 6-inch narrowed beam in, and hopefully in that episode, we are driving this thing. Yeah, waiting on a few more parts, as always. I feel like that's always the name of the game. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We're that much closer to getting this thing to South Florida for Eurotripper in just 2 weeks. Can't wait. First Beetle build. Corey's worked on them before, but I guess I could say I've technically worked on them before because the undercarriage of these things are in a couple of the vehicles in the fleet. But I'm real stoked that this is the first Beetle build. Small window car. Perfect patina car. Thank you guys so much again for all the support on the latest t-shirt drop on the cream and blue shop shirts. We'll do another colorway or another new shirt altogether here very shortly. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you guys in the next episode.